Nice people, though.
Yes.
Really good people. That was when Fred, I forget Fred's last name, was the priest there, and a good guy. And he's retired since.
Yeah, I only met him once. I don't remember his name either.
Father.
And let him know.
But the ladies of that congregation sure like to cook.
Yeah.
I retired before the job was done, and the company I worked for called me and said, we need you to come down to the job. And it was in the evening, and I thought, what in the world, what's going on? And the church wanted to give me a retirement party, so I walked in the door and it was just food everywhere.
And all of it's locale, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Really nice,
Yeah.
really nice.
As long as you eat it standing up, there are no calories.
Anyway, that's
Do we have a quorum?
cool.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, we got a
quorum. Okay. All right, we ready to go? Nothing to. All right, welcome everyone. I'm calling to order the June 27th meeting of the Meridian Township Planning Commission. Let's first have a roll call. Oh, here comes Mr. Richards. All right, good. So, Commissioner Primo.
Here.
Ms. Cordell is not here. I think she notified us she wouldn't be.
I don't remember.
Commissioner McConnell. Commissioner Shrewsbury.
Present.
Commissioner Richards. Here. Commissioner Snyder.
Here.
Vice Chair Tresides.
Here.
And the Chair, Mark Limmer, is present. All right, we have a quorum. The next item is to invite anyone who wishes to make public remarks to the Commission. I'll ask you if you wish to address the Commission, not on a particular issue, now would be the time to do that. If you do wish to speak, we'll ask you to fill out a guest speaker form and tell us your name and your home address. Is there anyone who wishes to take advantage of the public's address at this point? No, nobody there? All right then. The next item is approval of the agenda for this evening.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner McConnell. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Richards. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There is no opposition. The agenda is approved for this evening. So now the next item is item 5, approval of the minutes from the June 13 meeting. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tresides. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Primo. All in favor of approving the, is there any discussion on that?
I noticed one typo, and I thought I had seen a second one, but I can't find it anymore. On page 3 of the minutes, down under the, talking about taking action on items to waive the rules, it says Commissioner McConnell, there's just misspelling of the word waive. Down towards the bottom of the page, but I thought there was another one where there were some words missing, more grammatical than content.
I saw a typo as well on page 4, at the bottom, Vice Chair Tresides moved to adopt.
That's what it was, yep. I had seen it and I couldn't find it again.
All right.
I'm sorry, the one on page 3, could you repeat that?
It's right under where it says Commissioner Primo moved to suspend the rules to take action on this, the bolded section. The non-bolded section, it says Commissioner McConnell asked about the need for urgency on this item as he wouldn't waive, and waive just needs to be spelled correctly.
Got
I was waiving the rules. Waving to the rule.
I also appreciate changing things to results. That's a good way to put it. Thank you.
I got an email about that. He said thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner McConnell?
Yeah, the third to last item on page 2 is just missing some grammatical, a word is missing there. Asked about stormwater runoff and retention.
I saw that too.
We're just going through with a fine tooth comb. But these are
Yeah.
great.
There you go. All right, those are all friendly amendments, so assuming the amendments to be accepted, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? There is none, the minutes are approved. Communications. Staff, do we have any communications?
Do not.
There are none, all right. There are no new public hearings for today, so we move on to item 8, unfinished business. Item 8A is the 3560 Hewlett Road development, item number 22-014.
Got it on the screen. Not a lot to say. This is the same thing that you saw at the public hearing a couple weeks ago. I've had no new feedback. It's unchanged, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, and I noticed the applicant and his engineer are here too.
Any questions or comments from Commissioner
No
Richards?
question. I think to put the item out there, I would move approval as stated in the resolution of the plan new development 22-014-3560 Hewlett Road.
Is there a second to that? Seconded by Commissioner Primo. We'll take a roll call vote on that then. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry.
One quick question for staff. In the resolution, I notice the condition number 7, wetland boundaries or setbacks located on or adjacent to residential lots. Is that pretty much universally a condition nowadays? I like it. I'm just...
I'm looking at the resolution.
So page 2 on item number 7 is the 7th condition, is any wetland boundaries or setbacks located on or adjacent to shall be clearly identified by posted signage. Is that kind of a standard pretty much always?
I took that from the last previously approved PUD with a wetland on it.
Great,
So,
thank you.
I carried that over.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? I'd just like the record to reflect that I was particularly moved by the presentation last week from the citizen who has a family historic connection to this property. I thought that was very beneficial to the discussion.
Thank you.
All right, so let's take a roll call vote on the motion to approve the development. Commissioner Richards,
Yes.
Commissioner Shrewsbury,
Yes.
Commissioner Primo,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Tresize.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion is passed. Gentlemen, thank you very much. All right, unfinished business, item 8B, text amendment to traffic impact study standards.
This has had a little bit of history. I'll just go through it briefly. We introduced a draft ordinance of this to you on January 10th. You held a public hearing after a lot of comment and cleaning it up. Public hearing was held on March 28th. At your request, this was then presented to the Traffic Commission for any input they might have. The Traffic Commission had to postpone their meeting a month. They did hold it on June 16th. They did see this. They had no specific comment. They didn't make a motion or anything, but the comments, they generally favored the changes, saw what we were doing, and thought it was a good idea. So this is, as you saw it last time, on March 28th, but just to kind of go through really quick, it creates a new section where it consolidates the traffic study standards into one location, strikes out the appropriate locations, and changes the language to say, go to this one spot. So that's in that regard, it simplifies and consolidates the language. It fixes the inconsistencies between what was approved early in the year in the MUPUD ordinance and the rest of the zoning ordinance as far as traffic studies go. It had a loophole that was pointed out in your discussion. That's been corrected. And other than that, I can answer questions about it.
Whatever we do here, it still has to go before the
That is correct.
Any questions? Any comments on the proposal?
I'd make a motion to approve the resolution.
Is Is there a second to that motion? Oh, seconded by Commissioner McConnell. All right. Any further discussion or questions on the motion?
I was just thanking staff for taking the time to take the issue to the Transportation Commission and explaining it to them, give them the chance to weigh it.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's do a roll call on this motion. The chair votes yes. Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Tresize.
Yes.
Commissioner Shrewsbury.
Yes.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Commissioner Primo.
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
The motion is passed.
You're rocking that rotating roll call list. Really nailed it.
Okay. All right. The next item is unfinished business, item 8C, the text amendment to the storage container regulations.
This was introduced to you on April 11th. A lot of comment. I brought it back to you at your May 9th meeting. You liked it a lot better. A public hearing was held last week, and you, by straw poll, indicated support for the text amendment. We've had no public comment on this, and this is exactly as you saw it 2 weeks ago.
All right. Any questions for staff? Any comments on the proposal?
This, of course, also would go to the township board.
Yes. All right.
Do you need a motion to adopt the resolution?
Yes.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner McConnell. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Snyder. So we'll take a roll call on this. Commissioner Shrewsbury.
Yes.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Commissioner Primo.
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Tresize.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The motion is passed. I didn't miss anybody, did I? No. Okay, good. All right. So we are now on item 9, which is other business. Is there anything staff bringing to our attention?
Not at this time.
Nothing. Reports and announcement, item 10, Township Board update.
Same as you heard last time, the things are still working through the same, nothing new to report.
Do you have any information about that sudden flood that we had? What?
Apparently not.
Nothing?
Where was that?
No, wait.
The water outage.
The water main that broke.
Oh, that, I'm sorry. You know, I don't know specifically what happened. We got emails over the course of the day, and as the boil water advisory was updated, but I never did hear specifically what happened.
Why it broke?
They're doing renovation down in that area, and it was the corner of
Hazlitt and Marsh.
and Hazlitt.
Park Lake.
And
Right.
that particular area is getting some repair anyway, and I suspect in the process of doing the work they were contracted to do, they probably hit the water line.
Okay.
You know,
Just wondering.
Talk to Mr. Walsh.
Theoretically, it was probably marked, but that doesn't always mean you don't.
Talked to Mr. Walsh before the meeting this evening. He said it was a 24-inch water main. Wow. And
Yeah.
the road collapsed within about 10 to 15 minutes when it burst.
Wow.
It was obviously a major water main, and it handled or covered, it looked like 2/3 of the township.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And,
drove.
But they did get
we
it
drove-
restored in 24 minutes, and then it was just to boil water after that and to
We
keep it going.
drove to Costco 2 or 3 days ago, and they were still
Out of water.
hard at work. Things were pretty well barricaded, and it was one of those tricky getting there from here kinds of deals.
I was in Canada at the time, and I looked at the map that they sent out in the email, and my house was in the exclusion zone that was not affected.
We weren't affected
We weren't
either.
All right.
My question on an issue like that, when he's sending out warnings to boil water and so forth, my assumption is if your system wasn't affected, in other words, since we didn't lose water. We're not boiling water. Is that, no?
I can tell you that that's actually a separate water system. It's coming from Board of Water and Light. So
Okay.
we're on Board of Water and Light's water system. The rest of the township is coming from
So everybody needs to
the
boil
East
water?
Lansing
No.
water. Yeah.
Oh, not that, no, not
No,
that.
they're not commingled.
Oh, okay.
But our house never lost water, but we were within the zone that recommended boiling water, so I wouldn't give a universal proclamation that just because you didn't lose there may be two things going on. There was a
Right.
different system, and so if you weren't in the map zone, but I would not want anybody to think that because their water power was never disrupted.
That might have been a helpful communication.
Yeah. If you read carefully, it was in there, but you had to kind of read down and
In
understand
the
the
fine
map.
print?
And,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
It's better now. And I felt like they communicated a lot. I saw it on every medium I could possibly have seen it on. So I appreciated that.
Seems like the sort of thing that we were talking about with changing message signs that could potentially be really useful to have.
Yeah.
When you get home, boil
We had
water.
that discussion in the office, yes.
More than likely, there's an operator looking for a job.
Pushing the broom.
All right, let's move on to item 10B. Are there any liaison reports?
I went to the first zoning board of appeals meeting for me, and the issue that they dealt with was a variance on property on Lake Lansing, and the board denied the variance. So, and kind of threw it
Lake
back
Drive.
in.
Not to correct you, it wasn't on Lake Lansing Road, it was on Lake Drive.
No, I said around Lake Lansing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed,
Yeah, yeah.
just tell me to shut up.
And the interesting thing about it was that the person asking for the variance had already done the building. It was sort of after the fact, and so there was some discussion about, not setting precedent. So basically, in turning it down, the consequence was he has to go back to staff and work out a resolution which one possibility being you're going to have to take it all apart and redo it with a permit. He didn't get a permit. He didn't get
Is that a
didn't
matter
follow any of the rules. So
Is that a matter that'll come before us?
Pardon me?
Is it?
No.
No, okay.
No. If it's 200 foot or under, it doesn't need, he was connecting two buildings that made it 210 square feet. Okay. He got, a half to 2/3 of the way through building it, and the code people came out and stopped him. And then that's how it ended up with us. And it was an interesting, it was kind of a neighbor versus a neighbor kind of issue. And so it was interesting, an interesting first meeting.
That sounds like something that would come before me as a magistrate. Commissioner Coe?
Yeah, at the Transportation Commission meeting on June 16th that we mentioned earlier with the review of the traffic impact study draft ordinance discussion, the Transportation Commission is also discussing applying to the League of Michigan Bicyclists as a bicycle-friendly community. And the Planning Department has graciously offered to help start drafting that application, which besides giving recognition to a community for its achievements in being walkable and bikeable, the process also results in feedback from the league on the items that might be achieved going forward in order to achieve a higher status. And that could be really useful as we think about our master plan discussion and how we embody some of that feedback into our planning going forward. I also participated in an informal audit for a potential application for Safe Routes to School funding, which is federal and state funding for getting kids to and from school safely, and that was focused on the Kinawa, Chippewa area. So lots of activity around the walkable, bikeable community.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to ask a question with regard to Transportation Commission, because I never received any emails with any updates regarding the schedule, because previous meetings had been canceled, and so I had no idea that there was a meeting on June 16th.
I
And
apologize.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I heard about it informally through other folks. So,
I'm glad you were there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I voiced that, because
I'll double check and make sure that you're on the list, on my,
Thank you.
I have an email group. I sent the packet out the week before the meeting, it was an updated. All I did was change the date on the agenda, you know what I mean? I'll double check that.
that'd be great.
Sorry.
And then I confused myself further when I was like, did I miss something? So I went on and I saw on the Township Transportation Commission site here, June 16th Transportation Commission agenda, and then it says rescheduled next to it. So I was like, okay, yeah, I am good. I didn't miss an email, but with that, I think it really meant that it was rescheduled from a previous cancellation. So,
Yeah, I was confused on that as well, so.
okay. Well, thanks.
Sure. Any other liaison reports?
This is an liaison report with an observation, and we let these guys get away before we acknowledge that the last meeting somebody had asked the question what the existing buildings were used for. And on page 36, they went out of their way to mark all the buildings and identify what they were used for, and we should have acknowledged that to them.
Well, the lady that Chair Bloomers was so touched by, she's the one that sent that in the email.
Oh,
So yeah,
well,
absolutely, yeah.
Thank whoever for that.
I'll do that.
That's a good piece of work, and somebody should get acknowledged for it.
Very good. Any others? All right, that brings us up to item 11, project updates. Are there any new applications or site plans?
Not at this time.
Nothing. So we move on to the second part of public remarks. Anybody wish to address the board? No? Very good. There are no public remarks. That brings us to the end of this meeting then. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Primo. Seconded? Seconded by Commissioner McConnell. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.